Morocco. Before we visited, this is what we imagined. Desert, old buildings, popular cities and desolate mountains. How wrong we were. We arrived via boat from Spain at Tangamed, a short crossing that landed us straight into beautiful green mountains that begin our African journey. At first, we were scared, feeling apprehensive about being in a new country and new continent, but we had no reason to worry. To be honest, we just didn't feel sure of the safety or security of the place, not knowing whether people's stares were inquisitive or had a hidden agenda. As we know now though, the Moroccan people are an incredibly friendly bunch, which you'll see later on. Our ferry had been delayed, so we couldn't head too far before sundown, choosing a spot just a couple of hours ride from the ferry. Our first campsite by a beautiful lake, sharing the space with fellow overlanders, was the steady introduction that we needed and gave us a great scene to start the next day. Like a dog, we circled round and round until we found the Goldilocks spot that felt just right, and then I dismounted my steed with pure elegance. The short muddy track from the mirror-like lake we tackled with relative ease and once again joined the wiggly tarmac to head deeper into Morocco. Once away from the small back roads, we followed the large highways, seeing lakes, mountains and our first experience of a roadside checkpoint. We had some concerns about these, but as you'll see, most of the time we will wave through with smiles and salutes. Our ride for today would take us past the blue city of Chefchaouen, which we missed out on, though it gives us a reason to return, and towards the Ouazzane region, where we'd chosen to camp on a small mountain, some 800 metres in elevation. The route up would be slightly tricky, a mixture of hard-packed gravel, rocks, some slick mud, and as we climbed and found a spot in the shadow under the trees, there was a decent sloppy puddle to contend with too. Lauren was struggling slightly. It's easy to judge from a computer screen, but at this point she had just a few hours of off-road riding experience and was really uncomfortable with it. Add into a mix riding a bike that isn't well suited to it with a bunch of luggage, I think it's fair to say she did a grand job climbing her way up the hillside. All of the hassle to arrive at the top was well worth it though, giving us a stunning panoramic view.
It was a little bit tough riding. Loz was definitely out of her comfort zone. Weren't you, darling?
Massively. I'm shaking.
But you did it. Did it.
We began setting our tent up on top of the hillside with the sun slowly ebbing below the horizon. It was a great opportunity to crack the laptop open and begin some video editing while using my top box as a desk. Good morning. You join me from a slightly cold, windy mountain in Morocco. So we're right on the edge of the Rif Mountains here, and yeah, not the best night's sleep, but slept pretty well. But look at this place. As always, the camera doesn't do it justice. Just look. Oh, it's amazing. I'm so happy. This is day 19 on the road, I think. Bloody hell, nearly 3 weeks. Morocco is incredible so far. Ha! Watching the sun rise over layers upon layers of mountain peaks was a fantastic way to start the day. It was one of those moments in life where everything feels right. The Rift Mountains were formed some 65 million years ago when the African and Eurasian plates collided. The wind and cold couldn't remove our high spirits. We packed up slowly and prepared for the day, getting ready to see more of the beautiful Moroccan scenery. And that we did. But first, we had to descend the same mountain track we'd ridden the day before, though thankfully it was uneventful and we returned to the tar roads once more. Taking the sweeping mountain roads in our stride and enjoying the emptiness of them to lean the bikes over a bit. We'd pass by fields being farmed in traditional ways with donkeys pulling small ploughs, as well as passing hundreds of olive groves which left a beautiful smell in the air, and as you'll see, the roads didn't get much busier. We'd clearly chosen the unbeaten path and it was all the better for it. During one brief stop for water and a wee, we saw a lady with a donkey who was fetching water, though she insisted Lauren take a ride. It was a wonderful moment to share with her. Some scenes look straight out of a Windows screensaver. I didn't expect that Morocco would be this green at all, and it was a surprise around every corner. We finally made our way to the town of Fez, the oldest city in all of Morocco, founded way back in the 8th century. But it's now home to more than 1 million people. We were still nervous of leaving the bikes to explore, and so we passed on through, seeing rubbish-filled streets and then some questionable riding and driving. Thankfully, we managed to avoid the worst of it. We should have really made the effort to see the nicer side of Fez, but we can't do it all. It's hard to overstate the beauty of Morocco, and I truly hope that these videos do something to show how stunning it really is. Ready? This day would be one of the best yet, leaving our rocky campsite to continue our charge southwards. It was still cold in the mornings and in the shade of the trees, but after some off-road excursions, we found a national park worth visiting, including these massive trees. We followed the gravel trails around and we thought it was strange that we didn't see anyone else on the road apart from the occasional walkers. We had double checked and didn't see any signs or notice to say that we couldn't ride there, but we still had our doubts. In any case, we had a great time until we found ourselves right in the wrong place. There was a small market area to sell things to tourists that were parking in the car park, and we had to pick our way past the stalls before joining the car park where monkeys were running riot, having taken peanuts from visitors. After that fun and games, we continued towards the approximate centre of the country. Some roadworks slowing us down occasionally, but overall making steady progress and enjoying all the different types of scenery. By now, we were starting to settle into being in Africa, and so we could relax and soak it in as we passed by. Short stop for a sheep roadblock, and finally arrived at another rocky campsite.
Good evening. We are in, trying to read this so I know how to pronounce it, but I'm still going to cock it up. Agulmum Azegza National Park, and it is stunning. We got here a little while ago, but like just everywhere we saw a shepherd when we came in. He said that we could camp here. Well, we asked him and he just said Oui, so take that as a definite yes. Excuse the mess, we kind of like dumped everything everywhere, but that's camp for tonight. Our Loz is cooking a pasta dish, and I'm not sure how well you'll see that on camera, but there's mountains over in the background there. I'm not sure if that's the beginning of the Atlas, but yeah, keep seeing birds fly overhead. It's just gorgeous.
Agwelmum Azegza means green lake in the Berber language, though the lake was sadly dry during our time there, partly caused by a severe drought that Morocco was suffering from. We left our rock-strewn home for the night, joined the roads and pointed our front wheels towards the Atlas Mountains. The roads were once again quiet, and the scenery changed from deep forests through large towns and became more open with orange rock. We stopped to take a photo of it, just like this, and suddenly we had an invitation for tea. Kajid then took it upon herself to ensure we had a full meal. A large piece of freshly baked bread, lip-smackingly good honey, local olives, a fantastic omelette, and then finally, out came the tea. It was so well received and all of it tasted fantastic. Though we couldn't communicate easily, we muddled our way through with broken French, Google Translate and body language. We had many laughs whilst we chatted with Kajid and her daughter Hanan, before we continued on our way with full bellies. Atlas Mountains loomed closer, and we worked our way up and over 2,000 metres in elevation. Our pull bikes were struggling, particularly with the altitude, but they never gave up. Their mighty engines kept us going all the way until we could spend the night in Agudal, one of the highest villages in the Atlas.
I've just seen a sign saying 3 kilometres of uphill. We're already at 25 miles an hour, and how much worse it will get. And we've also seen signs for snow chains.
Thankfully, there was no snow, despite the sign for snow chains. We climbed ever higher, working our way up towards the village. We only realised the next morning, but at this altitude, the temperature on this particular night would drop below freezing, giving us blocks of ice instead of drinking water the next day, as we'd left some bottles on the bike overnight.
Another good morning. We are just packing up, about to head towards Mazuga. Don't know if we'll get there today because it's fairly late already. It's like gone 11, I think. And we just had a lazy morning, chilled out, had some breakfast. Stayed at this auberge, Auberge Casbah Citoyen or something. It's this place in the background. Pretty nice spot in the Atlas Mountains. Yeah, managed to trade a jumper for a jaleba, like a hooded cloak, which is actually really cool, so happy with that.
Our first stop of the day was to get fuel from the local shop, where it was dispensed in plastic bottles whilst I had a kickabout with the local lads.
Salam.
Salam.
How many keepy-ups can you do? The boing boing. How many? Ah, it's a bit flat, I see.
Could you put your pump on it?
Way! Go! Le prix? The price of 10 litres. See? Oui. Yeah, we did this. And 180, okay. Merci monsieur.
De rien. Bon voyage.
Bonne journée. Voilà. Au revoir.
We left our newfound football friends, but it didn't take us long to get hungry and need to make a snack on the roadside.
This is what lunch looks like on the road. Panniers, there's a chopping board, you've got the seat that doubles up, there's a preparation station. And this is honestly the best tool. Cheers.
Our descent had begun. I charged through the valleys of the Atlas. This was genuinely some of the most stunning landscape we'd ever seen, and we couldn't help but ride slowly to take it all in. Every twist and turn of the road greeted us with something new and exciting to look at. We could have stopped 1,000 times to take pictures, and it still would never have been enough. The skies may look blue, but even past midday, it was still cold enough to need all of our layers on. As don't forget, this was still winter, and we were still at a decent altitude, despite being on the valley floor. As you may expect, the day became late and our shadows grew longer as we approached Mazuga, the home of some of the largest sand dunes in Morocco, and just 13 miles or 22 kilometres from the Algerian border. But you'll have to come back next time to see how the rest of our Moroccan adventure would pan out.